Hello, it's Fran Davidson from psychicandenergywork.com.au, and this is part 3 of my monthly observations for January 2025. Part 3 always looks at the MO for the month at hand. The MO in a numerological chart describes how we're about to embrace, learn about, and come to exemplify, encourage, and channel more of the birth number states. The birth number is what I ran through in video 2 of my observations. Hopefully you've already got across that. Also too, on the website in the observations about this month page, you will find even more dialogue about this month's MOs. Every month we get 2 levels of number, the generic, which comes every year in the month that is, as well as the specific level of chart, which is a combination of this month and this specific year. So having said all of that, on the website, when it comes to the MO, I talk a bit about how 130, which is this month's specific MO, try and say that with your teeth in, and also 27.9 are here to help us get things, get clearer, get more sorted, get more organised for the way ahead. It's interesting because in a lot of this month's chart and dialogue, there is a theme of, shall we say, coming to know, coming to greater levels of clarity, coming to greater levels of awareness. And I suppose at that point, the question begs, whose awareness are we talking about? On a spiritual level, on a personal development level, we can unknowingly, in other words, unconsciously, define spirituality as being something that relates to us. And of course it is. But what I'm trying to get to is that awareness and knowledge, even manifestation, it is a dynamic that also lies beyond self. Now that I don't mean by saying that it is impossible. What I mean by that, especially when it comes to learning, developing, receiving guidance, for all of us, I'd argue, at some point of our path, we bump into the realization that the universe is real, that guidance is real, that the divine or source, the highest point, is real, whatever our names for that are, and whatever specific age we are at that time. What do I mean by that? Always, when we're talking about intuition and therefore living spiritually, what we're really talking about is living as witnesses, as observers, as receivers of information, and therefore as discerners, as gatherers, as understanders. Yeah? So, if all we do in a moment is position those dynamics around ourselves for no fault of our own, and not because that's a lesser state, but if that's all we do, we are still pegging everything to the aspect of what I, the individual, not Fran, but each of us, what I, the individual, knows, what I am aware of. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there can be a whole lot of beauty in that. There can be a whole lot of value and value add in that. However, you could argue that on a very practical, real, intuitive level, the divine is real, therefore guidance is real, and therefore the divine and guidance, and therefore the receiving of awareness is that point where we are very aware that we are not creator. We are simply receivers of impression or intelligence in a way that then we get to use and harness that intelligence for our own good, as well as the good of everything around us. In one way, what I'm trying to say is that this month's MOs, especially the specific one, 130, which reduces to 4, partly because it is a representation of this year's MO, which is 1034. Therefore, we have a doubling up of this month. But 4 is the investor. 4 is also the investment. And yes, all right, it's self as an investor, it's self's investment in anything. on any level, but it is also trying to flag to us the universe's investment in us. The universe's investment in, shall we say, enabling us to be here, in giving us guidance, offering us guidance, let alone in helping outside life offer guidance to us as well. So 4 as a period, or is a period, where we can start to become more aware of the fact that we don't need to know everything. We don't even need to drive everything or influence or manifest everything. We need to be able to receive first. And the more that we know that as a place of receiving intelligence, guidance, healing, spiritual refueling, by doing this and by actually partnering with life as an informing dynamic, we often get to far better places than we were originally in. So don't be surprised if this month helps your awareness blossom on this level in a way that all of a sudden, especially harking back to the birth number vibrations and therefore part 2 video in this series, don't be surprised if this month somehow life shows you how to partner better with yourself, with your core. And what I mean by that is your inner knowing. In other words, not just yourself on a top line level, not just at a very obvious level. You know what? This is what I want to achieve this year. These are the things I know I need to work through right now. All of those things are incredibly important. But also, too, is the level of self that isn't necessarily about the now, the immediate. It's also that part of you that has been presenting and resonating at various levels of subtlety ever since you were born. And so this month, in part, its MOs are here to help us all connect with aspects of ourselves that we haven't necessarily, as yet, given full voice to. Even that is an aspect of intuitive living. This month, as an investment period, as a period in which the investor, called life, called divine guidance, called the higher power, whatever it is that is your model, it is the period in which that level of energy may well present to you over and again in more obvious ways, in a way that helps you move into accompaniment, better continual partnering, in a way that then feeds your sense of completeness, support, being a part of, and belonging, in a way that then you're able to pump through to other people, not because you're pushing it, but because it just resonates out of every pore, out of every word, out of every thought and feeling that flows out of you from this point. So January 2025 is a very powerful month on all levels, not only the MO, not only the birth number, but also on reality number level. And that moves us on to part 4 video, which is coming next. Please make sure to get across it to complete your picture of this month. And again, get in contact if you need a hand. All the very best to you. Thank you for watching.